Number 1, I recommend you get 3 starting idols that are at least silver. Yeah, some more experienced players might be going, normal idols are fine. But the stat jumps and the time and money you earn and save by training silver or gold idols over common idols is large enough to warrant doing regional editions and farming local editions until you find those 3 idols. You can also save scum if you want to, but you really don't have to. I'm sure you can make it work with all 3 common idols, but for those with little or no knowledge, at minimum, get 1 silver idol. She'll likely be your center for early game singles. Number 2, if you're paying more than 50 to 100k per week in your first 6 to 12 months of play, you probably shouldn't. If you really care about keeping satisfaction high through your idol salaries, you'll be able to do that after early game if your strategy works out. You'll be earning enough money, trust me. Now, there are players who advise you to start with 10 idols and be just fine. I've seen people go 6 idols, all kinds of numbers. Those can work, but again, I'm advising most people start with 3 idols. You can go higher, just make sure you can manage their stats, and you're probably keeping their salaries at a minimum. With their satisfaction levels near 0%, this also means you won't be hiring a full staff early game, more on that in a later tip. Number 3, your goal early game is one of 2 things. Either work on upgrading your dailies, or make progress toward making better singles and concerts. The latter is going to be the lifeblood of your progress, but early game your dailies can be a good way to avoid bankruptcies and or stay positive. If you're going to focus on upgrading dailies, you'll likely be sacrificing time on singles and concerts. If you're making progress towards making better singles and concerts, then you need to make sure your idol stays safe, you keep your scandal levels down, and you watch your weekly balance. Either way, both methods will allow you to do the other. It's a question of what you want to do first. Number 4, assign Producer-san to do all the steps, if you didn't know while making your singles and concerts. The trade-off is a lot of his stats are lower, but you won't be praying more through salaries. Producer-san does have his own stats, which is why you want to be training early game so he's up to snuff with higher staff members. Again, the point early game is to upgrade dailies and or increase fame and or increase your idols or Producer-san stats. By the way, if you're doing this, you'll need to buy 500 research points for every research type you don't have. This allows you to make singles with Producer-san only in your office, for those of you wondering how that's possible. It's only 1 payment per 500 points that grows in cost per use, but if it's lower than your weekly salary costs over the span of your first year, yeah. However, you won't be able to do certain actions like socialize while Producer-san is doing all the work. Plus, having at least 1 other staff member means you can say, work on producing a single and an internet show at the same time, or work on producing a single and a concert at the same time, you get my point. Later on, you'll hire professionals to do the appropriate jobs for you, but for early game, most players are advised to have Producer-san do all the work. Number 5, get a break room, at minimum. If you are going to fill out the first floor, it's usually going to be 1 break room and 1 office. Or 1 office, then 1 break room, then another office. Once you start putting out singles every week and or getting jobs for your idols early game to mid game, you'll need the stamina recovery from the break room. If an idol gets injured early game, you should probably just reload a save. The non-scum way is to audition another idol, but that's up to you. If you have more than 5 idols, this means getting another break room. If you're also going to get an office and then put a worker there, and you're making enough money to sustain that worker, just hire an expert production manager. The boost the office worker brings to jobs is pretty substantial, and it passes off work that Producer-san no longer has to do anymore. Just keep an eye on your weekly cost of profit. I suggest making enough to make a single every month, in theory. Number 6, when making singles, it's okay to specialize in each category. However, if you want the safest options to specialize in, literally just take and start with all the top options with some side notes. The digital sales only strategy allows you to gauge the number of physical copies you can make with another strat, at least until you feel comfortable with predicting physical copy sales. Then, all the other top strategies, pop, love, cute, are pretty safe in terms of general audience. Yes, your idols or style might be built for other strategies to specialize in, but that's why I said you can specialize in anything if you need to. Number 7, your concert sales. You have 2 options. Either jack the ticket prices up for profit, which is what most players advise early to mid-game, or sell out the stage for fans while making a good amount of money. Both work, but if you have doubts about your money, just jack the ticket prices up. If everything works out, here are some guidelines. By the end of Chapter 1, you should be making at minimum 1 to 5 million per single. As for concerts, you'll earn at least, at minimum I say about 100 million, and your hype should be at 200% at the end of all concerts. Note that singles and concerts are not factored into your weekly costs, so if you're scared about hiring more staff or experimenting, just add those numbers from singles and concerts. A little bit of math will help you make better decisions. After early game, you should be popping out singles every month or so, do a concert whenever possible, the cooldown's off, unless you're lining up an election. Then you can usually commit to either training idols on the side, getting jobs to cut down on costs over time, or setting up side projects like shows or a cafe to do influence objectives or for vanity. If you're in Chapter 2 or 3, congrats! Again, this video is more for people who are probably going to one-off this game or play it casually. This means I'm assuming you're playing on normal difficulty. Veterans or experienced players can chime in if they want, but keep that in mind. If you have any other questions, just ask. Or look in the community for other text guides or more. If I make another video, I'll make another video. Until next time.